We've talked about installation and operation of the DigiSet and the MicroPro in probe and probeless mode to an AM14, and we'd like to talk a little bit about troubleshooting and some of the calls that you might expect to get. And we wrote down a few of the things that you might hear from your customer, and some of the things your customer might call to say is the detergent alarm sounds constantly, I can't get soap in the machine, the dishes are coming out dirty or they're coming out spotty, I'm using too much detergent, I can't see the chemical in the line, the pump runs but I can't get any chemicals, the dispenser power light is off. Those are some of the things that they may call to say that they're having a problem with. So we'd like to speak to some of those problems that you might have. And the biggest problem, the number one problem that you're probably going to have is after the machine has been installed for a period of time, at some point you're going to need to replace the squeeze tube. So this is the number one part. And there's two different squeeze tubes on these units. There's a T50 squeeze tube, which is the detergent squeeze tube, and it's marked on the outside of the tube. And if you look closely at the detergent tube, you can see that it says T50E. This has got a 1/4 inch hole inside of it, and it works with our RB550 roller, which I can identify because it is yellow. That is the same for all night pumps. It's very important that you match the roller with the right squeeze tube for a proper pump longevity. On the squeeze tube for the rinse, it is a T53E squeeze tube, which is a 3/16 inch ID tube, and it works with the blue roller, which is called an RB553. All of our dispensers, the DigiSet and the MicroPro, when you're working with pumps on rinse, are always going to have a T53 and a blue roller, and if they're using a detergent pump, it's going to be a yellow roller with a T50. So it's important to know which one goes where, and it's also important that you have these available, because should that happen, you need to be able to react to your customers' needs right away. If we open up these dispensers and look inside, you can see also that there's two different pumps. One, the rinse pump, which on this one is a 15 RPM pump, and the detergent pump is a 100 RPM pump. The reason they're different speeds is because detergent we want to get in quickly, so that we add the detergent quickly to the concentration of the wash tank so we get the full use of the wash with full concentration of detergent. But the rinse needs to go in systematically, so it's added to the rinse water very sparingly as possible to get the best results. So you also will need to have at some point a replacement motor, because these are DC motors, and although our motors last for a very long time, they will eventually wear out and need to be replaced. Other items that you should have in your inventory for spare parts would be the circuit board for the system that you are using, in this case the DigiSet or the MicroPro board. As well, you should also have in your stock a transformer. Both transformers are the same, but it's an important part to have. Now, if my customer called me and they told me that they were having a problem, that there was no power coming on, what I would probably do is, number one, I always make sure that I have a voltmeter with me. It's probably your best friend when you're out in the field trying to do troubleshooting. And I'll do this on the MicroPro, but it also stands true for the DigiSet. When the power comes into the dispenser, if the light on the front was not on, I would have to identify why that might be. Now, I'm going to look for simple answers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I'm going to see if I have power to my main power connection inside the dispenser. If it's hooked up to 208 volts, then I'm going to check across my hot and 208 connection to see if I've got power. If I've got power here, the next thing I'm going to do is check my fuse. If my fuse is okay, I'm going to go up here to where my blue and yellow wire connect from this transformer and see if I've got a 24 VAC connection, which is 24 volts AC. If I don't have power here, but I do have power here, then I can pretty much rest assured that I have a transformer problem. However, if I do have power here and the board isn't operating, there's a problem with the board and it would need to be replaced. If one of the chemical pumps wasn't running for any reason, then if I go to these red and black wires that go down to my detergent motor or to my detergent solenoid, then these are 24 volts DC, at which case if there was no output, if there was a problem with the motor not running, and I had power to the board, and I checked on these leads to see if there was any power, and there wasn't any power, then I could assume then that there was a problem with the board. However, if I had power here, but the motor wasn't running, then I would know that I had a problem with the motor and it would need to be replaced. So there's really just a few simple checkpoints for you. Power in here, power into the circuit board, power out to the solenoid or to the pump motor. And if you check those or know where to check them by using a voltmeter, they're very easy to troubleshoot and you can be in and out very quickly. But it is very important to have the correct parts with you when you're out in the field. It makes you look far more professional, and it'll get you in and out of your customers and keep them happy and you happy too.